Again, along Market Street in San Francisco, the city is allowing Waymos and some Uber and Lyft black cars to drive between Main and 10th. That stretch has been closed to most traffic since 2020. The cars are only allowed during certain off-peak hours, and there are specific pickup and drop-off locations. Mayor Lurie says this is part of his plan to bring people back downtown, but not everyone's on board. Pedestrian and bike advocates point to fewer crashes and faster muni times since cars were banned. A new lawsuit filed this morning in San Francisco accusing OpenAI and ChatGPT of causing a teen's suicide. The attorney for the family of 16-year-old Adam Rain says the chatbot encouraged and gave instructions in the weeks leading up to the teen's death in April. They allege that OpenAI and founder Sam Altman rushed a new version of ChatGPT despite safety concerns and prioritized profit over safety. In a statement emailed to the New York Times, OpenAI said ChatGPT includes safeguards directing people to crisis helplines and referring them to real-world resources, but they admit parts of the model's safety training may degrade in long reactions and interactions over time. And the Picket Fire in Napa County keeps burning into day 5, but its growth has slowed. More than 2,000 firefighters are battling the flames, thick smoke, and tough terrain, working to protect homes and keep the fire from spreading. The Picket Fire has scorched more than 10 square miles so far. It started last Thursday near Calistoga. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, we were off to a beautiful start this work week when it came to daytime highs, and we're continuing that trend today, too. We have 60s along the coast, cloudy skies expected for us there. Sunnier skies widespread throughout our inland areas. A lot cooler compared to average in most of the North Bay spots. I mean, we're talking about upper 70s near Santa Rosa, putting us about 8 degrees below average there. 74 today over into Napa, and we're continuing to monitor the air quality widespread throughout the Napa Valley region. Up into Calistoga area, we're still sitting in that unhealthy air quality index, and we're going to show you that in just a second. There's air quality alerts in effect this afternoon from the Picket Fire as they're continuing to work on containment of that fire throughout this afternoon. Now, daytime highs today down into the Santa Clara Valley. Pretty similar, actually, off into the East Bay. 80s, 70s widespread throughout all of this region. The winds are going to start picking up into this afternoon. Right now, they've been very light for the firefighters and the boots on the ground up near the Picket Fire, but the winds are expected to get a little bit gustier into this afternoon. Wind gusts today maxing to around 20 miles per hour in places like San Francisco, stretched up into Fairfield, Napa included in on that list too. So what does that do for the surface level smoke? Well, it continues to track it mostly to the north or the northeast, and we're keeping a close eye on that, especially when it comes to the air quality, because right now we're still seeing that unhealthy category for sensitive groups up closer to Napa, stretched all the way up in the Calistoga area too. Today is the day to limit your time outside in that region, and I say that just because if you are sensitive to pollutant matter, you want to take good care of yourself. Continue to drink water, clear that throat, limit your time outside, and check in on your loved ones too throughout this afternoon. Now, daytime highs this week, they're expected to rise a little bit more. We're gearing up for 90s as we head into this weekend's forecast throughout our inland areas. It's short-lived. It's really just Saturday and Sunday. We're going to see some warm temperatures, and then we're right back down to average as we head into early next week. Low 70s expected for us today in the Bay. We'll warm up into the upper 70s this weekend, back down to low 70s by Monday.
Well, that Picket Fire in the North Bay is threatening some of the wine industry's grape crops. Reporter Carter Evans shows us that fire is just one of at least 55 wildfires burning across the western United States right now.
Scary images from Phoenix as a massive wall of dust seemingly brings life to a screeching halt. This time-lapse video shows an apocalyptic scene of dust storm clouds surrounding Arizona State's football stadium. The storm also forced an hour-long ground stop for all flights at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Earlier, the same weather system caused delays at LAX and other Southern California airports as thunderstorms threatened the region. This monsoonal moisture has brought summer rain and thunder, and also dry lightning, which can spark wildfires. The brutal heat is also fueling the fires. In Central Oregon, aerial crews are making key drops to save neighborhoods while battling the flat fire. Although it's burned several homes, firefighters say they've saved hundreds more. Here in Northern California's Napa County, more than 2,000 firefighters are battling the Picket Fire by night and by day. Their mission to reinforce containment lines.
What do we have here?
This is all Cabernet Sauvignon.
Chris Jambois owns a winery on the fire's edge.
It's obviously alarming to have to go through this so frequently.
5 years ago, several wineries nearby were destroyed by the glass fire.
Can the smoke affect the grapes?
They can, yeah. I mean, we lost 2 vintages, 2018 and 2020, to smoke.
Though Jambois says he's been prepared to fight the flames, the future of the grape harvest remains uncertain.
If we do end up losing this crop, it'll be 3 out of the last 8 years. And, you know, we'll have some serious soul searching to do, I think.
Well, now there's a local health emergency here in Napa County because of the fire. County officials are concerned that debris from the fire could contaminate the water, creating a public health hazard.
Well, the Bay Area Air Quality Management District has extended its smoke advisory through tomorrow for Napa, Sonoma, and Solano counties. Republicans here in California are trying to block that effort to redraw the state's congressional maps. Governor Newsom signed that law last week to send the measure to voters in a November special election. The effort aims to give Democrats 5 more congressional seats, part of a bid to counter a redistricting plan in Texas that would likely give Republicans 5 more seats. State Republicans are asking the state Supreme Court to block that November election, saying Democrats violated the state constitution by skipping a public review period.
The people of California created the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to guarantee transparency and robust public participation in the redistricting process, and expressly to end self-serving partisan gerrymandering by Sacramento politicians.
The state Supreme Court rejected a request from Republicans last week. If approved, the new map would be used for the next 3 election cycles. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has an ultimatum for California: enforce English language requirements for commercial truckers or risk losing $30 million in federal funds. President Trump signed an executive order back in April mandating all truck drivers be able to read and speak English. It went into effect at the end of June. Duffy says this is necessary for the safety of the public.
This is a safety issue. Making sure drivers of very heavy 80,000-pound rigs can speak the language is truly a critical safety issue.
So this move comes just days after a truck driver in Florida is accused of making an illegal U-turn on a highway, killing 3 people. The government says that the driver was in the U.S. illegally and had gotten his driver's license and work permit in California. The federal government gave California 30 days to enforce the rule. Well, there have been a lot of bumps along the road for California's high-speed rail project, but state leaders are still defending the plan, even as the price tag soars. That project is now estimated to cost more than $120 billion. That is $87 billion over the original proposal. But some Democratic state leaders are doubling down on the project, and they're hoping for private investors. The goal is to eventually have bullet trains run from the Bay Area to LA, and then later expand them to Sacramento and San Diego. 120 miles of rail construction is underway in the Central Valley, but with President Trump threatening to pull federal funding, the authority needs more cash. Republican critics tell our reporter Tori Apodaca the project has been a waste of time and money, and they are not on board.
California's high-speed rail on track for the future or off the rails.
The only thing high speed about the high-speed rail is the high speed of which are wasting our tax dollars.
California Senate Republicans and President Trump, who recently announced he's pulling $4 billion of federal funding from the project, are not on board.
Funding, long-term funding commitment, is what we are asking for.
But the CEO of the California High-Speed Rail Authority joined state Democratic leaders Monday, saying the project isn't coming to a halt. It just needs some help. California voters approved the high-speed rail project to connect LA to San Francisco in 2008, proposed then to cost $33 billion and be completed by 2020. That never happened. Democratic Senator Dave Cortese says it failed because they weren't looking at private sector money.
How much of taxpayer dollars, though, have gone into this project and would need to go in to have its completion?
Yeah, there's most certainly billions of dollars that have already been invested in the project, and the project now has in excess of $100 billion budget.
The train tracks would stretch for about 400 miles, connecting Merced to Bakersfield by 2032 and Gilroy to Palmdale by 2038.
This is an economic development project with a rail line in the middle of it.
Cortese says the train will bring more to California than just connection, but economic development along the tracks, like housing. He hopes train riders and the development projects will eventually pay for itself. But Republicans aren't convinced California will ever see a return on the investment.
If you had your money, would you invest in a project that said it was going to be $33 billion and now it's over $100 billion?
A cleaner way of connecting Californians by transit. Is the cost worth it?
Republican leaders in California want to put the issue ahead of voters again. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., a congressional committee is investigating whether the rail authority knowingly misrepresented the cost of the project in order to get more federal funding. But despite all the setbacks, the project still has public support. According to a recent Politico poll, 62% of the people surveyed say the project should continue, while 38% say it is time to wrap it up. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, we are going to introduce you to a farmer who is turning to high-tech solutions to combat a growing shortage of farm workers.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Well, we were off to a beautiful start this week when it comes to daytime highs, and we're continuing that trend today, too. I mean, mid-80s in our inland spots today. Cloudy skies in the morning, clearing up into the afternoon hours, and then we're ditching the clouds completely. We're seeing sunnier skies and some warmer weather as we head into this weekend's forecast. We'll be back into the low mid-90s by Saturday and Sunday, back to average as we head into early next week. So a warm weekend right around the corner for us, but we're not even close to it just yet. For our friends in the Bay, San Francisco, Oakland, we're seeing low 70s today and tomorrow. Lasting into this weekend, we'll warm up just a hair more into the upper 70s.
Immigration raids have put a cloud of concern over farms here in California, leading to a dramatic drop in field workers. Now, a farm owner is taking a unique approach to keep his business alive. Our Itai Had shows us how he is turning high-tech robots into workers during these tough times.
On California's Central Coast, known as America's fruit basket, picking strawberries can break more than just a sweat. But for farmer Larry Jacobs, who spent 4 decades growing some of the most sought-after chives, basil, and tomatoes, the biggest struggle isn't growing crops. It's finding enough hands to work the fields, a challenge made even harder by recent immigration raids.
We've had some people who resign because of the changes. Hey, we're just going to go back to Mexico.
Because they're too afraid?
Yeah, yes.
With nearly 88,000 farm jobs unfilled each year, small growers like Jacobs are turning to high-tech.
This has been an issue for the last 5 years and 10 years. It's hard to find people to do this work.
From punching holes for seedlings, to shaking nuts from trees, and even scorching weeds with flames, these robots are saving small farms from going under. But even though these machines are ready to work, the law isn't. In California, state regulations prohibit the use of autonomous machines on farms, in most cases requiring a human to stay close by.
At some point soon, I think you'll be able to farm from your office.
Tyler Naide, CEO of Bonsai Robotics, the company behind these machines, says these regulations were written back in the 1970s, when driverless technology was still science fiction.
There's a huge push right now to rewrite this legislation based around autonomy, because we now know things about it. We know how these systems work.
With the average farmer now 58, Jacobs hopes automation might plant the seed for a new generation of growers.
If you can take the grunge work out of it and make it interesting with the technology, that's just going to create a lot of excitement. It's already happening.
And maybe, just maybe, help cultivate a whole new crop of farmers.
According to Bonsai Robotics, the robots start at $13,000 each. That is a price Jacobs says is worth it to keep his farm up and running. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, these drag performers are honoring the history of San Francisco and creating a safe space for the trans community in the process. We're going to take you inside the riot party.
And there's so much history, so much fight that has happened here to get to where we are today.
into the next couple hours, we are going to continue to see winds kick up just a little bit more. 15-mile-per-hour winds already this morning into San Francisco, kicking up to 20-mile-per-hour winds just by lunchtime. Yet all the way into the evening hours tonight, it ramps up a bit more in those inland areas. We're including Napa and on that, which is important to note with the Picket Fire still burning right now up into Solano County with about 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts too. So what that does with the smoke at the surface level is it pushes it mostly to the north and the northeast, places like Clear Lake and Middletown. Those are communities that I want to keep a close eye on, especially when it comes to current air quality. We're still sitting in that unhealthy category just north of Napa downtown. As we head into the afternoon hours today, places like Calistoga, you're still going to want to limit your time outside as that smoke continues to settle its way into the communities. Now, as we head into the next couple days, we're gearing up for sunny skies each day throughout the mid portion of this week. Warmer weather as we head into this weekend, which will definitely be noticeable in our inland spots, places like the East Bay and up into the North Bay, gearing up for 90s heading into this weekend.
Lawmakers in Sacramento are recognizing Transgender History Month. They say at a time when trans rights are under attack, California will stand up for them.
They have built this state. We should tell that story. They will not be erased, and California will not be fair weather friends to transgender people in our state.
The Transgender District in San Francisco is recognizing the month by combining celebration with activism. It's been 59 years since the Compton cafeteria riot in the Tenderloin. To honor the occasion, the district threw a party that raised money for programs that help transgender and non-binary people. Suji Nam spoke with the people behind the campaign.
It's a special night for Nikki J.
Love doing drag. It is my favorite thing. It's the greatest thing I've ever discovered in my life.
She has been producing and performing drag for the last 10 years, highlighting Black and brown and trans performers in the Bay Area.
That's what we're here to do, is create fun for people. You know, that's the best part about drag.
Bringing people together for her all-black drag show, Reparations, for the Transgender District in San Francisco.
Hello, San Francisco. How are y'all doing out there?
The party honors the 1966 Compton's cafeteria riots, an uprising of the transgender and queer community against police oppression. Donations from the party also go toward the district's new multi-year emergency campaign, the Riot Fund.
As most trans-led organizations are being targeted right now in terms of cuts to funding and threats by executive orders that are affecting our community left and right.
The district's co-director, Carlo Gomez Artiaga, says less than $1 out of every $500 from U.S. philanthropic funding goes towards LGBTQ+ organizations. They have a goal of raising $100,000 through the Riot Fund over the next 3 years.
Be able to put it where the need is in community, whether that's more name and gender clinics, whether that's more safety, know your rights, self-defense classes, whether that is accompanying people to courthouses, whether that's creating safe spaces.
Creating safe spaces like these, where the community finds joy coming together.
We are the very first ever in the country, in the world, trans district right here in San Francisco. And there's so much history, so much fight that has happened here to get to where we are today.
Nikki J is proud to be a part of San Francisco history.
Celebrating the past, the future, it feels really great to come together and know that we can overcome anything.
Being her best authentic self, while encouraging others to do the same.
All proceeds from the riot party go toward funding homes, businesses, and cultural and historical sites for the transgender community. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here is a look at some of our news headlines today, starting in San Francisco. For the first time in years, some cars are driving